for a while in the 90s, and I really enjoyed it. And people still play, and so it's a great thing to be a part of and continue to experience if you enjoyed it, or if you just love Star Trek, right? I mean, so I'm hoping to find some local players soon, and rather than just continue playing by myself, which is fun to a point. And as a collector and as someone that loves Star Trek, it's always fun. I mean, like Open Booster says, opening is priceless. So I haven't opened, if you're not familiar with second edition, I wasn't familiar with it until recently myself, because I only played first edition, and by the time second edition had come out, I was done. I had stopped playing, my local game store had closed down, I was a major Star Wars player. Star Wars CCG did not last as long as Star Trek did. So if you're unfamiliar with second edition, I will try to help you out as best I can. I'm still learning myself, so we'll see how helpful I can be. But the art style, the pictures and such, I don't think are as good as the first edition. Now that might just be my biased nostalgia. Wow, these are really warped. Hopefully all of the packs aren't like this. So yeah, look at that. It's still enjoyable, but these ones, these boxes aren't as cheap as the ones I've been opening so far. These are about $40, so I'm hoping they aren't all like this. I'll have to contact CCG Castle and see how they stored these and such. Now, second edition, like I said, doesn't look as good as first edition, or at least I don't think so. It's not framed as well, but the game itself is better, a lot of people think, and it's certainly more simplified. It's certainly more simple and easy to play. It's easy to get into. I mean, first edition, by the time it had reached its apex, had like 16 or 17 different types of cards. So second edition attempted to simplify it, and a lot of people still play it. All right, let's get started. Linares Holum. You should also know I won't give up without a fight, so if you're here to ask me to surrender, you're wasting your time. Part of the Bajoran Resistance. Audit spoils. When you begin a mission attempt involving the ship, you may take a card from beneath your Ferenginar into hand. You may do this only once each turn. Is that the Ferengi home planet? I cannot remember what the Ferengi home planet is called. Duranadar, attentive sixth. That's pretty cool. Extra 5 points, helps you win the game faster, complete maybe one less mission if you use him for most. Kazago, first officer. He's our rare. Okay, so the rare is the fourth card in, let's remember that. We like to play a little guessing game here, and we try to guess who the personnel or ship is based on their affiliation. So we'll reveal their affiliation first, then we'll reveal their stats, and then we'll reveal their abilities and see if we can guess who it is. It's something I used to enjoy doing as a kid. It makes the pack opening last longer. Michael Eddington, loyal leader. He was a son of a bee. Let's see what he says. While this personnel is attempting a mission, you may make him attributes +3 and gain honor and leadership. If you do this, he is killed at the end of turn. You may do this only once each turn. Clear ultimatum. To play this interrupt, you must command 3 Romulan personnel. Order, examine an opponent's hand, choose an event or interrupt reveal. That opponent discards it. Bruce Maddox. Data is an extraordinary piece of engineering, but it is a machine. If you permit it to resign, it will destroy years of work in robotics. Swagger. Just, you can't, I mean, anytime I see a picture of Quark's bar, it just fills me with happiness, because you really feel like you could walk into Quark's bar, and it just feels so real. Like I said before, I could watch an entire series just that takes place in Quark's bar. I don't even need that much conflict, you know. Minuet. jazz lover. Love holograms as well. That's some of the episodes with holograms are some of my absolute favorite episodes. We got him in first edition the other day. He had enormous stats. He still got really good stats, but in second edition they've lowered the stats on a lot of stuff. You won't see as high stats as you do. And in second edition there are also cost, as you can see up here. This is a cost. Each turn you're allowed 7 counters, and that is the totality of what you are allowed to play that turn. So a rook would cost more than half of your counters in one turn, but he's quite strong. It's more balanced in that way because in first edition, at least for the first several sets, it was mostly only really beneficial to play the main characters because you gotta smell the packs. You gotta smell the packs. They smell so good. It was only beneficial to play the main characters because they had such high stats and everything had the same cost, free. So I like in second edition, it's allows you to play some of the stuff that's more off the beaten path because they have a lower cost. Kira's an uncommon, interesting. Kira Nerys. Pious Major, Anthropology, Diplomacy, Leadership, Navigation. When this personnel uses a skill to complete a Bajoran mission, score 5 points. You may do this only once each turn. So that is similar to the other card we just saw. That allowed you to score 5 points per mission. Dajar, Cunning Saboteur. Again, that same ability looks pretty common in this set. When this personnel uses intelligence, score 5 points. Sigmund Freud, another amazing hologram. Outmatched. Consume X. Your opponent chooses a number of cards to take from the top of his or her dilemma pile and places them face up beneath this mission. For each dilemma your opponent consumes with this dilemma, add 10 cunning to this dilemma's requirements. So that's really interesting. It gives your opponent a tough choice. They can decide to reduce the total number of dilemmas that you have available, making their future missions easier, but in the process making the current mission much more difficult. But the problem is you're giving your opponent the choice, right? Wait, now let's see. Okay, no, it is your choice. If you play this, you get to choose it because your opponent would be reading it and it says your opponent. So that's very cool. Generic EMH. Assume type android. I loved playing these in the first edition. I played the Huxnock base and a bunch of Soong type androids, and it was a lot of fun. Sanchi. Rule of acquisition number 22. To play this event, you must command 3 Ferengi. Plays in your core. Now, your core is just like an enchantment in Magic the Gathering, or an effect in Star Wars CCG, or a stadium in Pokemon. Dr. Leah Brahms. For a rare, we have a rare Ferengi. We have 6 integrity, so that's quite high integrity for a Ferengi. 6 cunning and 3 strength. I'm gonna guess Quark. Ishka. Quark's mom, right? That's Quark's mom. 2 acquisition, biology, honor. Order. Examine the top card of your deck and exchange it with a card beneath your Ferenginar. Yeah, that's the Ferengi home planet. Of course it is. So far we've got 2 rare Ferengis. And, I mean, the pack does have Quark as its centerpiece. But I know there's much more than just... I mean, obviously, as we can see, it's not just Ferengi in a set. Boy, I am going to send this video along to CCG Castle and see if they can do something, because I doubt that these started this way. I mean, some printers do have some issues with warping, but this is a bit much, so I'm hoping CCG Castle will be able to do something for me there, because that's just quite a bit too much warping, I would say. Look at that. It's not even just that they're warped as a curve. They're warped from this angle all the way down to here. So they're not even... It's I wish I could figure out an angle to show you this here. Maybe someone can comment and tell me if this was a common problem with Strange New Worlds. As you can see, I'm holding this flat, curves all the way down over here, and then this side does the same thing. So it's a very inconvenient curve. You can deal with some curves, you know, if a curve is just sort of folded in like this, then, you know, you can account for it. But I don't know how you could play these cards next to other cards because they're just so curved. Reinforcement drone. Dajar. Ferengi computer. Dr. Leah Brahms again. Another Michael Eddington. Outmatched. Same thing, we're getting the same pack here. T-Bok. Minuet. Boy, we really are getting this. This is the... What is this? The same exact pack? It looks like it might be. Okay, it's different. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Alright, so we have a Ferengi. Oh no, this isn't the rare. Boards. Ooh, okay. I heard that there were foils in this set. So we have a foil. I don't know if you can see that there. We'll see in a second. 3 integrity, 5 cunning, or sorry, 6 cunning, and 5 strength. And it's listed as an A11. So I think maybe all foils are listed that way. Sovok foil. Well, foiling's not bad. It's alright. It looks really good as a Ferengi because it's gold. I do like that. Acquisition, archaeology, programming, science, treachery, order. Discard a card from hand to examine a number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the discarded card's cost, then replace them in any order. So you can do an order once per turn. I believe it is after your... So when you get your seven counters to spend... Oh, someone just messaged me on the Trek CCG Oregon. Explain this to me. I cannot remember now. You do get 7 counters every turn. You can use those to draw. You cannot leave any remaining at the end of your turn. So you do have to use them all, either to draw into your hand. This feels like another foil. I hope it is, although it does have an issue right there. So you can use an order once per turn, basically. Sometime during your turn, you can use an order. Kasem. Berta. There are a lot of Ferengi in this set. Stay where thou art. Unless you have cunning greater than 40 or a personnel who has both diplomacy and integrity greater than 7, randomly select 3 personnel. They cannot use their skills during this mission attempt. So now this pack is slightly less warped. Maybe it was just one side. I'll have to take them out and examine them after this. Sealed. Recover components. Heart to heart. Between Lore and Data. Lore was a good, scary antagonist. Akito. Wait, is that the original Akito the person? It's not a real person. It has no life. Everything it does is controlled by computer. But it will feel real when it hits you. Varia. She was barely an adult when I found her. Idealistic, naive, full of dreams. And I made all her dreams come true, didn't I? At a slight cost, of course. She had to lose all those pesky ideals, but then maybe that was what made these years so wonderful, watching her lose them one by one until none were left. Scrawn. Krunk. Another Soong-type android. And it is a foil. I thought it was. Now I'm going to be really bummed out if it's really good because of that dent on the back. Let's look at the dent again before we flip it over. It's quite bad, isn't it? as a collector, that's always really disappointing to open something that is brand new and have issues. So I mean, I know this set is old, but it's not that old. Alright, so we have a Federation starship. It is 6 integrity, 7 cunning. Or sorry, no, it's not a starship, it's a personnel. 6 integrity, 7 cunning, 6 strength. And it is from the alternate universe. That's what that red icon is. Now, is this just the original Enterprise? I just mixed up myself up again. It's a personnel. It's not an Enterprise. I'm being crazy. Let's see. To pull from Enterprise. So I was somewhat close with Enterprise. Oh boy, it's real damaged. I hope your hope CCG Castle does watch this video and listen and do something, because this does not seem beautiful card though. It's just a bummer that it's completely damaged. Now I feel like if a distributor, if Decipher or the printer, if there were major problems during this set, that it should sort of be discounted, or there should be a disclaimer. So the packs themselves are quite warped. Now, are all of them warped? Was this box stored outside? To me, this feels like a box that was stored outdoors. And they have a lot of stock at CCG Castle, so I think maybe they stored their old out-of-print games outside, or maybe this was stored in a overly humid environment. And that dent, not sure how that dent happened into pull. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Although they're already, really warped, so. Warped plus dented is real bad. Just warped is, somewhat dealable. Charged particle precipitation. What an interesting. Charged particle precipitation. Cool group of words there. Cluttering irrelevancies. Another really nicely named card. Nava. Sonchi. Bruce Maddox, Chair of Robotics. Ferengi Whip. I feel like there's a Ferengi Whip in every set, I swear. Impromptu Prison. Meaningless modifications. Unless you have 3 engineer and leadership or personnel cunning greater than 6, all personnel are stopped in this dilemma, returns to its owner's dilemma pile. Rule of acquisition number 76. Clandestine agent. When your founder is attempting a mission, if your infiltrator is present with an opponent's personnel, that founder gains a skill of your choice until end of turn. We have another foil in a row. Now, I don't know. I think there were 18 in this set when I looked. Maybe it was a little more, or maybe they're just top heavy in the top of the box. So we have a Cardassian, 7 integrity, 6 cunning, 5 strength. He is not alternate universe. He is a high-end officer, because he's got that large star. Let's see what skills he's got. Diplomacy, engineer, honor, law, leadership, programming, transporters. Is this that guy that was the mother of the good Cardassian that said that he was the father of Kira? Dissident Legate. When you play this personnel, discard a card from hand. When this personnel is about to be stopped by a dilemma, you may stop your dissident president instead. People like Ari are the real heroes. My position protects me. The risk is theirs. Am I right? I cannot remember what he looked like. No, this... I don't think this is what he looked like. But this is one of the good Cardassians. That's a good looking card. It does have a line through there, as you can see. Now, some of Decipher's Star Trek cards have these lines, and usually you can rub them out, and they're like a coating, but not the case with these ones. Still, at least it's not dented like the T'Pol. Help me out, CCG Castle. Help me out, man. What happened here, guys? So again, the second edition had a cost, and you had 7 each turn, and dilemmas too had their own cost. And the way that those worked was, or is, you know, people still play. This looks like a foil as well. I could be wrong. Let's skip to the back just briefly to see. Okay, it's not. That's a bummer. Almost. So they would have their cost as well. And the way that you determined how much you had to spend on dilemmas was based on how many of your opponent's personnel were attempting the planet mission. So if they had 10 personnel, that's, you know, a high number, but it gets to 10. If they had 10 personnel, the first time they attempt that mission, you have up to 10 points to spend on your dilemmas to place underneath that mission. So you could place a dilemma that cost a 3, 2 dilemmas that cost a 2, and another one that cost a 1, and another 2, for a total of 10. And you had your dilemma pile set on the side of the board. Instead of placing them in the start of the game, which caused the start of the game to take a really long time, you would just set them to the side and then use them as needed when your opponent attempted missions. So you could browse through them and try and place dilemmas that seemed like they would work well against your opponent's ship and personnel. Now, they only have to reveal their personnel the first time they play them, so you got to remember what personnel they have there in order to best determine what dilemmas to place. So we have a Dominion with a high amount of integrity for a Dominion, somewhat low cunning, and a high strength. You know, all Dominion have high strength. I am not going to be able to guess this. Maybe someone else will be able to. While this personnel is facing a dilemma, each of your Jem'Hadar present is cunning +1. Order, stop one of your Jem'Hadar present to draw a card. You may do this only once each turn. We came here to be free of the Vorta. It's time to stop living by their rules. So yeah, that's why he's got high integrity. I really, really love the Dominion that were the Jem'Hadar that were trying to escape the Vorta rule. They were very interesting characters. They were very good episodes, and they were very sympathetic. I mean, talk about a rough hand being genetically engineered to serve, and with a chemical addiction that not only sends you into pain and withdrawal, but kills you. The Jem'Hadar are really, really good, interesting characters. Transport delegations. Protect the escapees. There we have Ferenginar. Flink. Rule of Acquisition number 22. Akito. Delicate Negotiations. Crunk. Recover Components. Scrawn. We have a rare Ferengi ship that requires 2 minor officers to crew it. It's got decent warp drive, smaller end weapons, and smaller shields. When this ship is about to move between a Gamma Quadrant mission and a... Wait, is that... I'm not sure what quadrant that is, actually. I need to learn the icons. It's either Gamma, Delta, or Alpha. I guess that doesn't really count, does it? Nafar class. Arulin. So we have now the quadrant that the founders came from is the Gamma Quadrant, and the quadrant that DS9 is in is the... Is that the Delta or the Alpha? I cannot remember. Voyager is... Oh boy, someone will have to help me out here if they can. I'm embarrassed that I don't know my quadrants. Genuinely, I am embarrassed that I don't know the quadrants right now. I am a true Trek fan, through and through. Unabashedly so. Unashamedly so. Observation drone. Par Lenore. Michael Eddington. Outmatched. T-Bok. Minuet. Palartov again. Bortz. Seeing double. Morph. Choose one. Place your founder from your headquarters mission aboard a ship, or exchange any number of Dominion personnel at your headquarters mission with an equal number of your personnel aboard a ship. Destroy this event. We have a rare event. Exceed engine output. Huh. Let's look for comparison here. Put these two packs side by side. We hold them at the top. That's what we have here. This. So we're holding them together at the top. Now, if we were to hold it together at the bottom, splits together at the top. These Dominion packs are very straight as a comparison. I gotta smell the pack to make me feel better. At least the pack always smells good, no matter what condition you get it in. These are almost worse than modern day Magic cards. What was happening at the printer? Or in storage? Holodeck grid. Transport delegations. Ferenginar Financial Hub. Clear ultimatum. Worth the price. To play this event, you must command 2 Ferengi. Destroy an event. The player who commands that event may draw cards equal to its cost. So, you can destroy one of your opponent's events, but they get a little kickback as a result. Still pretty good for a 0 cost. Situational, but... Quarrel. Randomly select 2 personnel unless they have integrity greater than 11 or cunning greater than 11. Both are stopped. Rule of acquisition number 22. Wise man can hear profit in the wind. Ferengi whip. Flink. Another rare Ferengi. A very low amount of strength. A high amount of cunning. Low amount of strength. Is that the the Ferengi, short Ferengi woman that had a crush on Quark and And pretended to be a male Ferengi. Zach. I could see Zach, why Zach has such low strength, though. That makes sense. 2 acquisition, diplomacy, law, 2 leadership, commander of the ship we got earlier. That's always cool. Stop this personnel to reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Ferengi personnel, draw it. Otherwise, place it beneath your Ferenginar. Gentlemen, I congratulate you all. Profits are better than ever. Alright, I think we'll open one more and then stop this video for now before it gets too long. Let's see what time it is. Actually, I don't have a watch and my phone is far away. Let's see. $1.53. We'll do one more pack. Call. Vedic Assembly. For each Vedic you command, take a card from your discard pile and place it in the bottom of your deck. After all the hours listening to 112 Vedics talking at once makes me yearn again for the sanctity of my arboretum. Rom, as an uncommon. Waiter, when a Ferengi personnel present is randomly selected by a dilemma, you may make that personnel attributes +1. I've always been smart, brother. I've just lacked self-confidence. Recover components. I'm sure lots of people feel you, Rom. Lots of people understand that. Feeling smart, knowing you're smart, but lacking self-confidence. It's a tough thing. I had that for a long while and still get it here and there. In the Paw Wraith's wake. Anyone else experience that? People don't think you're as smart as you are because you lack self-confidence. You don't speak your mind. Well, Rom learned how to get some confidence and show how intelligent he was. If Rom can do it, we can do it, right? Letic. We have a rare, I believe this is